Прямой и боковой слева.
In over 3 decades and through 300 battles in the ring, Buakaw Banchamek has asserted himself as one of the greatest strikers in martial arts history, and single-handedly altered the course of the sport's development. Formerly known as Poor Pramuk, he forced K1 to ban prolonged clinching with his dominant infighting, became the organization's first 2-time middleweight king, and then pieced out to conquer the world stage. Today we'll recount the legendary journey of the White Lotus, from a regional champion to a mythical icon. Furthermore, the 41-year-old Buakaw will soon return to the big ring.
Buakaw опустил перчатки. Roy Jones Jr. просто.
Sambat Banchamek was born in a small Thai village in the Surin province on May 8, 1982. As is customary, he stepped into the ring at the young age of 7, being dubbed the Black Demon for his dark skin. The moniker suited him well, foreshadowing his future fearsome reputation even by exceptional local standards. I first saw the fight and fell in love with Muay Thai. We gathered a group of kids and started training ourselves. You had to pay to perform, and my mom gave me 100 baht from her last bit of money. The entire village came out to support me. That's how it all began. Before long, Sambat's enchanting charisma was on full and captivating display, drawing attention of female spectators, who gleefully watched his relentless work through the ropes. At 12 years old, he moved closer to the capital, Bangkok, and joined the Poor Pramuk gym, eagerly immersing himself in a hardcore training regimen. Sambat adopted a new name, which according to traditional beliefs would protect the bearer from the evil eye. From now on, he would be known as Buakaw, which translates to White Lotus. The last name Poor Pramuk came from the gym's name, and suddenly he was feared more than any other curse. By 2004, the Thai fighter had claimed a critical amount of belts and international level victims. Among them were notable Japanese names, which paved the way for the White Lotus to join the world's premier organization. Already in April, Buakaw entered the K1 World Grand Prix at 154 pounds, a new weight class for him. In the round of 16 of the most prestigious kickboxing tournament, he effortlessly tripped his opponent, occasionally adding low kicks.
Here, early on in this, the first.
But once the insolent fella decided to bite back,
So, Jordan Thai.
And arrogantly put together combinations,
Otherwise, this is going to detriment Jordan. Under K1.
Poor Pramuk unleashed his true ferocious self.
From Jordan Thai. Thai having to get out of trouble. Oh, they're so tough.
The adversary's only achievement in this 9-minute-long beatdown was not tasting the floor.
The Thai is going about his business in relentless fashion. And Jordan Thai needs to cover up, really. The Thai has done.
As a result, the White Lotus advanced to the final stage of the annual Game of Thrones. It was a one-day tournament in July where 8 of the deadliest kickboxers on the planet competed for the title of Undisputed Division Monarch. First, the 22-year-old Buakaw faced John Wayne Parr. The renowned Australian was part of the sport's nobility, who had seen it all in the ring, and was one of the favorites to win the Grand Prix. It's not surprising that the start of this confrontation turned into a showcase of Muay Thai beauty with plenty of kicking exchanges.
どのタイミングでどう出してくるか。
ミドルの連発、強面パワー、圧倒的に判定勝利ということにもなりましたけど、この時もパンチがよく顔面を捉えていました。
Nevertheless, around the halfway point, Parr switched to boxing combos
上がってくるか本当わかんないですね。
はい。ボディを出してきました。
and managed to seize the initiative.
少なくなっている第1ラウンド。さあ、足で返していきます。ボディ、左右のボディ、畠山さん、今のボディを。
In response, Parr changed his tactics to keep the foe at bay, pumping kicks.
これはね、精神的にはパンチ。
かなりパンチを警戒してるんでしょうね。小笠原渡アナウンサーからのリポートでした。
The new approach bore fruit, and the third stretch ended on even terms.
相手は一体どちらになるのか。上川はプレッシャーをかけられている。
Nobody was willing to give up an extra round either.
さあしかし上演パーがやはりプレッシャー。ワンツーが入った。顔面を捉えた。上川は大丈夫か。しかし体勢が逆転。体勢が逆転。
Still, a surge of adrenaline allowed Buakaw to go on the offensive, which lasted until the bell.
に対して蹴りを返してくる。
ある程度勝ったと思ったんですけど。
しかし、
来ますよ。
22歳。
Having secured a high-profile victory, the Thai prodigy then clashed with Takayuki Koryumaki. The lanky karateka had one-touch demolition power, could throw solid knee strikes, and even managed to defeat Mike Zambitis earlier that night. In the beginning, the Japanese athlete disrespectfully swept the Thai off his feet.
По 70 кило. И вот так набросился.
Grinning, Buakaw returned the favor.
Встречал живот.
And then punished him thoroughly.
Король. Встречает Хиромаки, правой через руку, левой навстречу. И колено в голову. Это уже Буакав.
Unchallenged aerial and terrestrial supremacy lasted for 4 minutes of doom. Until Koryumaki finally learned his lesson.
Все, на этом достаточно.
After dismantling Takayuki and speed running into the final, Parr crossed paths with the Japanese schoolgirl's wet dream, Masato Kobayashi. The Silver Wolf, as they called him, was one of the best kickboxers of his generation, with an extensive resume. Moreover, he was the reigning K1 Grand Prix champion, coming in as the favorite. Kobayashi made it to the finale considerably battered. However, his indomitable samurai soul left him no choice but to engage in fiery shootouts. In retaliation, Parr started front kicking, which gave him an advantage at range. To avoid trading in the pocket, he also happily engaged in clinches. And Masato's only hope was to read the Lotus Sutra. Buakaw's parade of excitement continued to gain momentum. Once the Japanese striker's prayers took effect, Parr total dominance morphed into a toe-to-toe struggle. Even though the challenger was ahead thanks to patented Muay Thai moves, The fearless Masato had no intention of giving in. As they approached the finish line, Buakaw was fully confident in his victory. Unfortunately, the slyness of the Japanese judges showed itself. Buakaw had to win the extra round that his enemy was gifted. Luckily, Masato found no antidote to the tie-ups. By the end of the 12-minute-long scrap of the year, where fans barely had time to wipe off their sweat, poor Pramuk left no doubts about the champion's name. Previously unknown outside his homeland, the Thai prospect became an instant global star. I was happy to showcase the power of Muay Thai to the world. I'm thankful to K1 for at least that. After this, our sport was heard everywhere.
Muay Thai boxing champion.
This Grand Prix had far-reaching consequences for K1. In order to discreetly prevent Buakaw's hegemony, the organization imposed a rule across all weight classes, limiting clinch strikes to 1 per engagement. Now, the Thai phenom couldn't use not just his elbows, but also consecutive knees. The effect of this taboo was on display against Kozo Takeda, where the White Lotus was forced to stay at distance.
カウンターで一発狙ってるんでしょうね。
飛びだー折られたって別に構わないっていうそういう人間ですよね。
The battle-tested Takeda, who had fought Thai guys often and successfully, capitalized on the situation. Buakaw had to adapt on the fly during the intense encounter. The winning formula was discovered in the 5th. Adjusting to the new rule set and ringing Takeda's bell twice, in 2005, poor Pramuk went on to collide with the world champion from Belarus. His opponent did the utmost to earn the respect of the hard-headed Thai. But Buakaw's kick sounded like an explosion at a construction site. And he had no intention of holding back until the time expired. Everyone has their own idea of Muay Thai until they take a hit from a real Thai. They restricted me. I had to evolve and train in boxing 3 times more than before. In July, the White Lotus squared off against one of the elite, Albert Kraus, the winner of the first middleweight Grand Prix in 2002, despite being regarded as one of the most skillful kickboxers in the promotion.
Definitely trains hard. He's got skill.
He was not reluctant to spin the deadly windmill and grind his enemies down.
You wanted to knock him out. Oh, that's it. It's all over.
Kraus and Buakaw had crossed paths before. That time, the Dutchman shined on the counter. And sat the Thai down.
W jego wykonaniu przede wszystkim front kicka, który by pozwolił utrzymać. No tutaj jednak widać było, że
Poor Pramuk enacted revenge with a batch of artillery knees.
prowokować do walki w półdystansie, ewentualnie
He kept the gas pedal to the floor till the end.
Fantastycznie Krause blokuje te kopnięcia Thaia.
Earning points in multiple collisions.
Widać wyraźnie, niech Państwo zwrócą uwagę na pracę. O i teraz kapitalnie.
Nevertheless, the judges didn't appreciate his sportsmanship
Bardzo przyjacielski.
and awarded Kraus with a controversial win.
I trzeci sędzia decyduje, że...
Poor Pramuk drew conclusions from the 2005 Grand Prix rematch and became the one who always had the last say in exchanges.
パンチやったーフリー 1.2 キロのブラカオに対してクラウスは 69.7 キロ
Albert never managed to catch up, while Buakaw, high on dopamine, rained down with hammers of fury.
来た見失いたラッシャー
特に
アッパー右フリー打ち合いかわずかな打ち合いです来た
The fresher Thai was ahead in the closing stages.
落ちて前に向かっていく王者連覇はどこで出るかクラウス右のフック見切っています左
And comfortably went to a decision.
パンチが出せないクラウスローキックワンツークラウス膝を出す右当たりは浅いか前人未到の K1 のマックス連覇へ向けて
For the second year in a row, Poor Pramuk reached the final, where he was greeted by Andy Sauer. It was his first crack at the belt for the energetic Dutch technician, but his ability to send guys to the Shadow Realm was beyond doubt.
好調です。
It was a play of contrasts from the opening seconds.
まずは立ち上がり
Buakaw delivered his signature explosive kicks.
それがどこでまず火を吹いてくるかブアカオのこのミドルの直後のハイキック
And did as he pleased in the tie-ups.
普通あれだと攻めたら自分のじゃないんですよね。なるほど。で当然打たれてない。
Andy, on the other hand, excelled in sharp boxing flurries.
見ていますとにかく過酷なトレーニングを連日行って
At the end of the first, the contestants found the pulse of the battle.
はいワンツー右フック狙った
いいでしょ。そう。
まずはサワーのパンチが飛び出しています、
でクラウスが勝ってるわけですけど。
その翌年はね
In the second frame, Poor Pramuk acknowledged Sauer as a worthy adversary to trade with and tried to trap him in bear hugs.
戦いを見せましたから右の膝を飛ばしていきますブアカオポープラムック
赤コーナーのアンディ・サバティエはもっとポイントを取ろうじゃないかそのためにローキックを使う
The Dutchman realized clinching was inevitable and fired from all barrels whenever possible.
その世界大会を制しておりますアンディ・サワー距離を詰めていく右ストレートワンツー
In return, Buakaw sought to build an advantage to prevent any risk of a robbery.
2発パンチを返す相手をパンチしてないんだからさせなかったというところでしょうこの左のパンチこれは入りました
Andy defied his plans at times.
アンディ・サバサイドねここが
自らが達成して最強
When the dust settled, many believed that Poor Pramuk had done more overall.
残り10秒を切るどうだ今年の世界一は最後の攻撃
Still, the Japanese judges clearly disliked him and gave Sauer a chance.
戦に入りますにとっては
The Warriors stayed inside the squared circle for an additional 2 rounds, where the action didn't falter.
表情していましたよそしてもう指示はもう変わりません遠くからどっかクリが蹴っていくという
It's been quite windy in the ring so far, but now the stormy sky crackled with lightning.
ワンツーからここに来る膝をパンチワンツー
Late into the 5th stretch, the bout was completely even.
ブレークを命じます両者組む時間がなるほど
疲れたんですよね。
離れての前蹴りあるいは高速の
At this point, victory could go either way.
最後の戦いが
Following a 15-minute massacre in front of 18,000 spectators, the Grand Prix Championship went to Andy Sauer. Disappointed, Poor Pramuk immediately left the stage. Yet everyone knew his vengeance would be legendary.
本当に僅差ですよね。
All fighters have performances where they need to give more, but it's too late. This was just one of those days. As part of the Retribution campaign starting in 2006, the White Lotus faced Hiroki Shishido. The Japanese maverick attempted to corral the Thai to the ropes with flashy combos. Buakaw pushed the annoying foe away and flatlined him.
руке на прямой и боковой слева. Коротко и ясно.
Nailing his man with a left hook just 15 seconds in, Poor Pramuk blew up the kamikaze with a single detonation.
Не успел ничего сказать. Что творит этот парень?
That same year, Buakaw crossed paths with Mike Zambidis, the wrecking ball of fury and reincarnation of Kratos in one person. The Greek bruiser's knockouts were so chillingly frightening that rumors about him catching 4 bodies in the ring circulated for years. Although not true, there were certainly grounds for these accusations. In the ballet of violence with Buakaw, despite Iron Mike's unusual agility, he rarely managed to land on the tie. Meanwhile, poor Pramuk targeted the legs, bombarded the rival with body kicks, and occasionally went up top. Even in the second round, the Spartan warrior was still desperately stuck in first gear. Zambidis' only successes were sporadic attacks to the midsection. He simply couldn't turn the tide and succumbed in every aspect to the world's second best middleweight. With this convincing decision victory, the White Lotus joined the lineup of the 2006 K1 World Grand Prix held in June. In the quarterfinals, he was greeted by Yoshihiro Sato, the best Muay Thai practitioner in all of Japan. Buakaw had significantly improved his boxing since the last tournament, something that the enemy reluctantly acknowledged. A pull 1-2 counter landed on the money. It wasn't time to write a will yet, and the spirited Sato went for broke. Buakaw put a bow on it in the second. After catching a front kick, the White Lotus uncorked a left hook that isekai'd the Japanese fighter into another universe. The same evening, Gago Drago awaited him in the semis, following his sensational upset win over Albert Kraus. The Armenian underdog immediately wounded the Thai's pride. Buakaw eagerly jumped into the melee and played the lead throughout the round, not giving the opponent a slightest chance to make it competitive. Gago tanked forward in the second, which suddenly helped his matters. The night was far from dull before, but now there were fireworks everywhere. And in all directions. Under the bloody moon, the White Lotus blossomed. The good old Muay Thai classic. A forearm frame, a right hand over the top, and Drago is already inspecting the canvas. Despite Gago's obvious willingness to keep going, by the end, Buakaw had only strengthened his dominance. Ultimately, the crowds and the judges' sympathies were undeniably with the Thai. A stroke of luck in the final was the old acquaintance Andy Sauer. On a streak of 24 victories, the Dutchman had previously made a splash with a spectacular knockout. and a triumph over Masato. All things considered, the rematch between two striking wizards couldn't leave anyone indifferent. It wasn't their first rodeo for both champs, and the battlefield was iron hot from the gate. Sauer assumed the role of the aggressor early. But having reminded that revenge is best served cold, Buakaw unpacked the Fluga Geheimen special. Showing unparalleled composure, and he tried to get back into the contest, for which he paid a steep price. There was no escaping for the battered Dutchman. Shaking Sauer's hemispheres with two collapses, the White Lotus ended the bloody carnival with a mean punch. At 24 years old, Pramuk became the first two-time champion in K1's middleweight history and a national hero at home. Soon he would open the doors to his eponymous gym, a pretty audacious thing to do in Thailand. Buakaw would also transform into a movie star, with his deadly mustache remaining a hit for many seasons in local barbershops. All thanks to the Night of Cracking Chins 2006 edition. It's worth noting that after the tournament, the K1 Overlord got a bit cocky, showing off his invincibility. Causing behind-the-scenes dissatisfaction among the higher-ups. Victory in the upcoming 2007 Grand Prix would cement Buakaw as the greatest middleweight of the 21st century. That's why the organizers matched him up with Masato, the only top K1 contender he hadn't faced in the past 2 years. The meeting started with relentless pressure from the Thai. And yet, the Silver Wolf pulled ahead with brilliant handiwork. Suddenly, the White Lotus couldn't keep up with his dynamic Japanese counterpart. Pramuk decided to revert to his proven rock'em sock'em style. But Kobayashi had already found a chink in his armor. Knocked down by a swift combo and caught under the shelling, Buakaw refused to cave in. In the second stretch, the versatile ring soldiers picked up where they left off. Then Buakaw got the punches going and slowed the Japanese fighter down, pumping low kicks. Only half a round later did Masato begin to restore the balance. And the ending went in his favor. According to the rules, Pramuk still had a chance to win the decision. However, the Silver Wolf sensed blood and was not willing to share the spoils. Not believing his own eyes, Buakaw was forced to retreat under the non-stop assault from the Japanese predator. Kobayashi was making history on live TV. And poor Pramuk had to accept not being in the driver's seat.
4年ぶりの王座奪還をかけ奪還をかけて破りました。
Overcoming very long odds, Masato delivered a fantastic performance. He outplayed Buakaw in areas where others crashed and burned, earning praise in the locker room. Thailand's favorite son didn't want to sit on the sidelines and flew to Seoul in 2008. The Korean zombie's neighbor rose from the ashes after a cemetery head kick, so poor Pramuk gave him an encore and added some punches on top. The opponent asked for more, and Buakaw began to question the guy's sanity. A strong sedative seemed to be the only option to save the patient. Nevertheless, the Thai phenom subdued the Korean without medication. The left check hook and the pull counter cross were the final arguments to stop the beating. The annual K1 Grand Prix opened with a battle against Kraus. The Dutch butcher initially aimed at the torso. Buakaw recaptured control in response.
Jab outside thigh, big rim kick from Buakaw. Nicely done from the Thai.
He kept Albert honest throughout the bout.
Short there from Buakaw. Cracks on that fast. Goes for another technique. 3 round
and cornered him on the ropes for the sake of variety.
5 in a row now from Buakaw.
His right hand, by kicking him so consistently on it. Very effective.
Kraus frantically tried to find success late by going up top.
Second round. Oh, nicely. Double rounds for 4 rounds again by Buakaw.
But poor Pramuk maintained the lead all the way to the bell.
Nice jab from Buakaw.
The unpredictable judges somehow saw it as a draw. The inspired Dutchman willed himself to restore parity.
And that's what Kraus is doing this week because Buakaw doesn't sleep. He's upstairs to the head looking for the headache maker.
Which lasted until the end of the extra round.
Rip kicks again for Kraus. Oh, nice uppercut. Right hand hold. Again a kick in display from Buakaw.
Kraus could have taken this round.
For once, karma was on poor Pramuk's side. Although Albert overtly disagreed with the decision. Despite the favorable outcome, Buakaw's relationship with K1 was soured and he lost motivation. This became evident in his rematch with the previously beaten Sato. Early into the rematch, poor Pramuk was confident in his invincibility.
С другой стороны, если такая тактика приносит победу, тайский атлет, конечно, выглядел непробиваемым.
He brazenly answered Yoshihiro's left-hand attacks with his right.
Своему оппоненту его надо ломать.
And fired crosses down the pipe.
Ой-ой-ой.
The signature left hook was no less heavy.
Так все и надо делать. Вот, обратите.
The skinny Japanese counterpart absorbed the impact like SpongeBob and stayed on his feet.
Верить своего оппонента, что он будет постоянно бить его как раз вот этим аэгирем. И вот, домолачивание.
He rightly emphasized body blows in the process.
Сказали добавить скорости, он это и делает. Называется в игру.
Fighting back fiercely, Sato gradually depleted the Thai's gas tank. This allowed him to spice things up in the third and make it a war of attrition.
Другое дело, насколько у тебя на это хватит, собственно, в обмен ударами постоянно. Авось попадешь один раз так, что сопернику хватит. Он же все-таки тоже из плоти.
Put under excruciating pressure by the immortal Japanese, Buakaw was eventually stopped dead in his tracks.
Опа! Вот это да!
Enduring dozens of precise offerings,
Вот вам...
Sato exhausted the star and nailed him with a right hook.
Вот он!
Buakaw, knocked out, now you've seen it all.
Опа!
Coming back 3 months later, he locked horns with an Indian kickboxer nicknamed Black Mamba. Poor Pramuk proved to have steel not only in his heart,
Не шелохнул.
but also in his fists.
Все мы хотим вернуться в это чудесное время, а вот Буакав Пурпурамук укачал его, убаюкал.
It didn't take him long to seal the deal.
Благодаря вот этим... сейчас было опасно. Печать поставил.
The Black Mamba's hopes for a Tarantino-esque happy ending were shattered, along with his consciousness.
Буакав Пурпурамук с возвращением.
Buakaw's 5-year-long K1 journey culminated in the semi-final of the 2009 Grand Prix against Sauer. The Thai Dynamo dominated in all aspects, tripping his enemy down and blasting sharp knees.
See that he faked the front. Nice inside thigh kick from Buakaw.
Poor Pramuk constantly mixed targets on his signature kicks.
It's just continual frustration here. Playing too much on the hands here. Put him on the ground, high left round kick. And he wore that one well.
Additionally, he found great success with intercepting shots.
Sauer. Oh, nice.
Even the commentators were shocked with the verdict.
Oh, come on. We're going an extra round. At the risk of sounding like John McEnroe, you cannot be serious.
The Thai curse took its effect thereafter, and things weren't as clear in the extra round as before.
The body shot. Good high check from Sauer, but he eats the front kick. Cow's being backed up here. Sauer, beautiful, dipping left hand to the left thigh. Oh, nice right hand from...
They met the final bell, neck and neck.
Sauer might.
Yes, I mean, now this round...
Cross. Spinning back into midsection. Sauer trying to steal it. Kleptomaniac and really impress the judges. I'll do the fair thing. Give it to Buakaw.
Once the final result was announced, Buakaw was done with K1, there and then.
Buakaw is disappointed. He should be disappointed. He was robbed.
I'm disappointed. This is ridiculous.
Because I want to slap these three judges with a wet fish.
He would only return to K1 4 years later for a couple of guest appearances, marking the end of his involvement with the Japanese league.
And he punches the second shot.
Following a scandalous split with the promotion, Buakaw had no intention of slowing down. In fact, he transformed into the boogeyman that haunted other kickboxers' nightmares. Firstly, the 28-year-old Thai ventured into shootboxing to face Tobi Imada. Although the rules allowed takedowns, it didn't save the all-rounder from an avalanche of low kicks. And a visit to the hospital on crutches. Approaching his 30s, poor Pramuk returned to his Muay Thai roots. Issuing beautiful knockouts in bulk as if they were on sale. He captured several meaningful belts.
No surprise there.
Starting from 2011, Buakaw also participated in 2 tournaments of one of the leading Asian leagues, Thai Fight, clearly indicating he was still the alpha. The White Lotus won both times. The turning point for Buakaw came in 2012. While in Italy on a shopping trip, poor Pramuk threw down with Jabbar Askerov, a rare breed, a Dagestani striker who loved to shut opponents down with leg kicks, but could explode with his hands when needed, abruptly tripping their fuse boxes. Buakaw opened the match the reliable way, an abundance of body kicks.
Nice kick from Buakaw.
Transfers to the head.
Every technique scoring the same. Beautiful head kick there from Buakaw.
Mandatory foot sweeps. And punches on special occasions.
Nice head movement.
Askarov was aiming low.
Nice look.
Nice.
Worked the midsection himself.
Left kick.
And sought to catch Buakaw with a missile to the head.
Go for broke jabber, Askarov.
Big
left up from
The seasoned veterans kept up the pace late.
Getting like it with a baseball bat as well. Every time it's either across the ribs or right across the arm.
And gave a competitive ending. Satisfying the fans with a great show without Japanese judges, the White Lotus emerged triumphant.
Well, there you go.
Nevertheless, when he returned home, a scandal broke out. Dissatisfied for a long time with the gym owner's pro-exploitation attitude, the People's Champ left the poor Pramuk gym. It turned out that for years they'd withheld his earnings and had booked fights without his consent. The absence of contracts is a common problem. They can hide a third of your earnings and split the remainder so that you get only crumbs. The split was followed by a $3 million lawsuit, but the government stepped in to defend the beloved national treasure. He subsequently retook his original last name, now performing as Buakaw Banchamek, and opened his own namesake gym. I swore that I would be honest with fighters, and what happened to me won't happen again. Other teams charge half of your purse. We take only 30% for management and training. It's fair. The brand change and the fallout with an influential team didn't hurt Buakaw's stock, so he continued to perform in Thailand. The highlight reel kept expanding with new gems that would make even Ong Bak blush. Banchamek's record continued to swell up with extraordinary demolitions. His collection of prestigious titles kept getting bigger respectively. Going 5 years undefeated, the White Lotus signed with a football club as a side quest and played a couple of seasons at the regional level. His longtime friend and prankster Sanchai also dropped by to train. By the mid-2010s, Buakaw had established connections in China, signing an agreement with the leading Chinese promotion, Kunlun Fight. His debut opponent, Gu Hui, got his dome rattled from the gate. The Wushu Sanda champion was subjugated to a gut-wrenching thrashing. After consecutive humiliating landings, he carelessly lingered in the knee blast area. Having dispatched the organization's homegrown star, half a year later, Buakaw delighted the fans with other trademark moves. Setting things in motion with an overhand, he went hunting for the enemy's scalp. And caught him with a picture-perfect combo. Kicking off the new chapter with a bang, Buakaw spent several eventful years in China, bulldozing through the Kunlun Fight aristocracy. Soon the promotional landscape began to resemble a graveyard. And Banchamek received a coronation worthy of an emperor.
World champion golden belt.
His best piece of work in the league came against Marwan Turu in 2017. Fearlessly engaging in a trade with the Moroccan, the Thai clocked him over the guard and added a soccer kick. The wild ride lasted about 4 minutes.
Get out! Get out!
A sinister left hook caught Tutu slipping, and he went down like a lead balloon. The doctors had their hands full. Buakaw once again did not disappoint the former and reigning kings of Thailand, whose photos he always carried. Visiting another Chinese promotion in 2015, Banchamek engaged in a memorable two-part series with the so-called Shaolin monk, Yi Long, with the gold at stake. The self-taught warrior's only relation to the famous temple was his bald head and yellow pants, while his popularity came thanks to a viral YouTube clip.
Shot, and he is unbelievable.
Nonetheless, this one-punch man copycat was ready to throw down with anyone. There's plenty of power and fighting spirit in this fella. The memeable Chinese daredevil got the ball rolling in a truly unforgettable manner. Buakaw was perplexed. He soon regained his composure, and things got much better. However, Yi Long refused to submit. Responding on occasion. The Thai tried to cool his ardor with foot sweeps, and was almost regretting taking the fight by the end. Pulling off a miracle, Yi Long survived 3 rounds in the midst of a zombie apocalypse, surprising the world. Victory was not on the table, though. In their title sequel in 2016, the monk was as audacious as ever, leaping right into the thick of things. Buakaw found a way to slow down the frantic tempo, and then launched a counteroffensive. The party resumed at the midpoint to the rhythm of strikes flying in both directions. Banchamek reintroduced the tossing tactic. Yi Long's answer was to jump at him from a running start and drag the champion into a chaotic melee. After that, the dog-tired Maverick lost the last stretch across the board. Albeit bright, the monk's moment of fame seemed to be fleeting, but the judge's verdict made it imperishable. Buakaw wasn't interested in regional showdowns at this point. In 2017, he starred in a new action movie where he played the lead role. The sex symbol status was now just around the corner. To coincide with this significant event, Buakaw moved back home and signed with the All-Star Fight promotion. Just like before, the opposition couldn't hold a candle to the living icon of martial arts. In 2019, Banchamek squared off against Chris Ngimbe, a renowned champion and a knockout artist with a tendency to fly. Still, he also proved no match after a couple of falls. A body shot paired with a high kick wasn't enough, so Buakaw polished him off with consecutive hooks.
Bà bỏ bỏ cười xin em đi. Bà khôm tạ đài, bàn tay khôm bần chân nè.
Following yet another dismantling, the 37-year-old veteran realized that there was nothing left to prove and retired from professional sports. This allowed him to focus on helping the younger generation in his own gym. Among Buakao's students was the young star Superbon, who keeps it playful with the sensei, but turns into a savage in the one championship cage.
Olivier Coste.
In addition to his coaching duties, Buakao hosted Muay Thai tournaments in his own backyard. Nobody dared to disappoint the White Lotus with cautious game plans. In retirement, Bonchamek got into YouTube and started developing a highly popular channel with a wide variety of content to suit every taste. His production team is always extremely motivated. Buakao's girlfriend also wholeheartedly supports his endeavors and doesn't shy away from participation.
Headshot.
Now every Muay Thai fan knows Bonchamek is a man of boundless talent. The White Lotus maintained his physical shape with exhibition outings. Even his appointment as the executive director of the Kickboxing Association of Thailand in 2021 didn't save his adversaries. In 2022, the indefatigable Buakao came back to promote the second-best stadium in Thailand, the Ratchadam Nairn. In an exhibition match, the glory seeker from Japan evoked more pity than an abandoned kitten. Although Bonchamek put some weight behind his strikes only towards the end, the humidity in the arena kept rising, while the Thai fighter did everything possible not to cut the opponent's pretty face open. Eventually, instead of blasting a couple of lethal bombs, Buakao faked a ferocious finishing sequence for show. Successfully pitching his dance partner as a resilient macho to the delight of the female audience, Bonchamek got his long-awaited rendezvous with Sato. First, he worked the crowd. Then turned things up to usual levels. And wrote a check Yoshihiro couldn't cash. Removing Sato's hand away, Buakao planted a right hook from hell. The beauty of Muay Thai as it is. The White Lotus is busier than ever these days. He's set to have an exhibition boxing match in 2024 with the retired icon Manny Pacquiao. Prior to that, Bonchamek is in for a special rules bare-knuckle Muay Thai bout now versus Sanchai, an undisputed legend and possibly the best Thai boxer in history.
Oh, question mark! Exactly, formally!
We'll soon find out what will come of the battle between eight-limb-style virtuosos. In the meantime, Buakao continues to piece up his old pal outside the ring. Throughout his decades-long career, Buakao won the fans' unconditional love with his rugged charisma and unwavering determination, which remained unchanged regardless of organizations and weight classes. Although the White Lotus had reached the pinnacle of the sport 2 decades ago, he continues to put his opponents through a ringer, even at the age of 41. His far from complete official record includes 241 victories with 74 knockouts, and 24 losses, many of which were highly disputed.
この左ミドルです。
If you enjoyed the video and want to see more K1 icons, kick the like button, subscribe to the channel, and vote for sport.
Yeah!